Hi, so today I wanted to make a video about being a highly sensitive person or an HSP. A lot of this information I've got from a video on a TED Talk, so if you YouTube Elena highly sensitive people TED Talk, it'll be the first one that comes up. She's got blonde hair and a green dress, and I'd highly recommend watching that video. I found it really informative and really interesting. And today I wanted to talk about this because I am always been a highly sensitive person. I've always thought that was a bad thing. I would describe myself as a sheep in wolf's clothing rather than a wolf in sheep's clothing. A lot of people would think I'm quite extroverted. I like a chat. I can be quite loud, especially when I'm in the office or in a group of people. I can thrive off that, but sometimes I also find that quite stressful and draining, and I need time to myself. I find a lot of social situations quite draining and anxious, depending on what's going on at them and things like that. So for me, it comes more in terms of people. And in this video, Elena talks about highly sensitive people and how they are often perceived as weak and fragile, which is not the case. It's just got bad PR. Being highly sensitive has got a really bad rep. And she describes it as having your senses on high alert all the time with having a vivid inner world, which I can completely relate to. And you just experience emotions quite a lot more strongly than someone else might who isn't a highly sensitive person. So you might feel more anxious than someone else would in a situation. Something that one person might find sad, you might find even sadder than them. And a highly sensitive person or an HSP is more likely to be caring and empathise. How can that be a bad thing? I don't know, but it's still seen as a bad thing. And we're often told to toughen up, and that it's implied that we're highly flawed. So if you think of a highly sensitive person, you probably think, oh, that person is not contributing to society as much. They take things too personally. Time my baby has. They take things too personally, and you can't have a joke with them. You can't have a laugh with them. They're always crying, and it's just not the case. Like I don't cry very much. I can have a laugh and a joke. I can laugh at myself. And now I just want to say here, this isn't mentioned in her video, but I do think there's a difference between someone who is highly sensitive and someone who takes things the wrong way. So someone who's highly sensitive just takes things more extremely than someone who isn't would. So an example would be if someone gave you a dirty look at work and you were a highly sensitive person, you would find that a lot more upsetting than a typical person. But if someone looked at you in a certain way and they just happened to not smile for that second and there was no dirty look behind it, but you decide or you think that is what they've done, that's taking something the wrong way. So I think that's the other reason highly sensitive people have a bad rep, is because people think we're just making things up, and it's not true. But that's not the case. It's usually just getting more upset or more happy at things than other people would. We find it very easy to connect with others. Not everyone, but just generally there's people in our lives that we find it a lot easier to connect with, and I can empathise with that. I quite like to talk about emotions and feelings and getting to know people, talking about mental health. I find that sort of thing really easy to discuss, whereas a lot of people wouldn't or don't think it's appropriate. Everyone's different, and we have strong intuitions about what other people might be thinking or about situations. So I've definitely picked up on things about people that I've met for the first time, for example. I just pick up on things a lot more quickly than other people do. So being highly sensitive is not a bad thing. Like I said, it is not an illness or even a choice. It is genetic. So it is something that is genetic within us and we can't help it. Elena uses the metaphor, it's like telling a person with blue eyes that your eyes are too blue. No matter how many times you tell them, their eyes are always going to be the same shade of blue. So it's completely pointless. We could try and hide it a bit better, but it doesn't change the way we feel, and it's not productive or conducive to a better world to tell people not to be highly sensitive. About 15 to 20% of the population are highly sensitive, which is a massive amount. So how can it be a bad thing, really? Like I say, we have an awareness of subtlety, so it comes along with that strong intuition, and we pick up on things a lot more quickly, which can be a great thing in the workplace. So again, these qualities should be celebrated, really. And we often are overstimulated. So again, I did talk about this in terms of tricks. So a lot of people with trichotillomania, or one of the main causes they think of trichotillomania, or triggers should I say, is over or under stimulation. So you're feeling over or under stimulated and you're pulling your hair to like bring your stimulation levels to like an even keel, and they think that overstimulation goes a lot with highly sensitive people, which might be why many, if not all, people with trach, I'm sure it's not all, but most people with trach are probably highly sensitive in some way. I mean, please disagree with me below if you think that's not true. If you don't think you're a highly sensitive person and you have trach, I'd be interested. I just think it's a lot more common. So in this video and in another podcast, there is another podcast, and I'll try and basically, if you go on BBC Sounds and search for highly sensitive people, or it's Emma something is a highly sensitive person, that podcast is really good as well. So like 2 half-an-hour things. So in schools, they want teachers and parents to be trained to pick up on which children are highly sensitive, and then kind of encourage those traits, or at least teach them how to use them so that they're in a positive way, so they're not always told it's a negative thing, and it gives them a chance to thrive in the workplace later, which often highly sensitive people aren't necessarily given the opportunity to thrive in the workplace. So basically, they want parents to be able to identify, and teachers as well, to be trained to identify which students or which children are highly sensitive, teach them how to use their highly sensitive traits in a way that is conducive to the world, and teach them that it's not a bad thing, and therefore when they move into the workplace, they are also beneficial to the workplace, which we are now, but even more beneficial. We're not told that it's all our fault. So we need to celebrate the highly sensitive skills. People who are highly sensitive are team players, and we're empathic, and we make good decisions. We can actually be really good to help businesses and things grow. So in terms of my own personal experiences with high sensitivity, like I said, I feel like I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing. I have always been highly sensitive. I've always taken things to heart. I really experience the emotions of others. I worry about my family or my partner, or what they're feeling in a situation, which can often, in a negative way, can be difficult. We're all in a situation, I'll be really worrying if everyone's having a good time, things like that. I'll pick up on little subtleties when people aren't, and it can ruin the day for me. I can't just enjoy my day if not everyone else 100% is, things like that. But in a good way, it has definitely helped me. I think I'm really good at talking to people and listening and understanding what people are like, and being sensitive towards other difficulties that people have. This is, one of the reasons about starting this Instagram account and / channel. I want to help people. I want to open up to people. I want to be here for people to talk to if they want to, and I really almost thrive off that, which sounds weird. I don't mean it in a weird way. I mean, I thrive off helping people and telling people that they're better than they think they are, because you are. Honestly, a lot of people think that they're not so great, and you really are great, especially if you're watching videos like this. You really are a good person. You're really trying to educate yourself and learn more and empathise with people. So if you are an HSP or a highly sensitive person, congratulations, you are absolutely brilliant, you are excellent, you will be beneficial to your workplace or to whatever job you do or whatever situation you have. All of your families and friends will love you even more because you're highly sensitive, and you're highly sensitive to them, and it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.